Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss the margin account operations of a futures contract using a real-time example for better understanding. As discussed in our earlier videos, futures contracts are better than the forward contracts as they are traded on an exchange platform, ensuring better transparency and liquidity. Unlike forward contracts, futures help avoid counterparty risk. So how is this risk avoided? There is an entity called a clearing corporation on the exchange that collects a certain percentage of the total transaction value as initial margin, which is a safety amount from both the buyer and the seller of the futures contract. This initial margin is settled on a mark to market basis daily. Keep in mind that the margin collected is only a collateral to ensure that both the parties fulfill their obligations as per the contract. If the situation favors a party, the margin will be returned to them on expiry or whenever they square off the position. Let's now understand this with the real time data for Adani Ports stock. Suppose I am bullish about Adani Ports, expecting the price to rise, while you are bearish, expecting it to fall. We both enter into a 1 month future contract in September 2024. Let's now compute the margin account operations daily to get the data. To get the data, search for NSE India Equity Derivatives Historical Data on Google. Click the first link which will direct you to the NSE India website. Under Instrument, select Stock Futures. In the symbol, choose Adani Ports. For expiry, select 26 September 2024. Leave the option type and strike price fields empty as these apply only to options. Select custom dates from 30th August to 26 September 2024. Note that since the last Thursday of August is 29th, the September month contracts becomes the near month contract starting from 30th August. We assume that the futures contract is initiated on 29th August. Click Go and download the data as a CSV file. Open the CSV file, delete the open, high and low prices and keep only the close price and the underlying value. Rename the close price column as futures close. So, on 30th August 2024, the spot price, which is the underlying value of Adani Ports, is 1481.9. I prefer not to buy the stock immediately, but instead fix the price for 26 September 2024. So, I enter into a futures contract at a market price of 1490.55. The lot size for Adani Ports is 400 shares and we decide to trade 2 lots. So the total shares would be 400 into 2, which is 800 shares. And the transaction value would be 800 into 1490.55 equals 11,92,440. So the clearing corporation collects 20% of the transaction value as initial margin from both the parties. The initial margin would be 11,92,440 into 20%, which will be 2,38,488. It also sets a maintenance margin of 15% of the transaction value to manage risk. So the maintenance margin would be 11,92,440 into 15% will give us 1,78,866. Now let's calculate the daily profit or loss, or gain or loss, and see how the margin account works. The futures price on 2nd September is 1499, whereas the future price on 30th August was 1490.55. So the daily gain or loss for the long position as on 2nd September is 1499 minus 1490.55 into 800, which is 6760. So a long position makes a profit of 6760, whereas a short position would incur a loss of 6760. Repeat this process for every trading day until 26 September. Lock the lot size and number of lots while dragging the formula to fill in the remaining rows automatically. Now, let's move on to cumulative gain or loss. On day 1, the cumulative gain or loss is same as the daily gain or loss. From day 2, add the daily gain or loss to the previous cumulative gain or loss. Apply the same method for both long and short positions. Now, let us compute the margin account balance. On day 1, the margin account balance equals the initial margin. From day 2, add the daily gain or loss to the previous day's margin account balance. Repeat the same process for both long and short positions. If the margin account balance falls below the maintenance margin, the broker will issue a margin call, asking the trader to restore the margin to its original level for better risk management. For example, on 19 September 2024, the long positions margin account fell below the maintenance margin level. So, the required margin will be initial margin minus the current margin balance, which is 63,400. So on 20th September, the margin account is replenished and the new margin balance becomes 2,60,728, which is the previous day's margin including the additional margin and the daily gain or loss for 20th September. The short position, however, does not receive any margin calls since the bearish trend works in its favor, keeping its margin account above the maintenance level. After completing the calculations, verify them as follows. Final margin account balance minus the margin call minus initial margin should match with the last value of the cumulative gain or loss. Apply the same steps for both long and short positions. If both the parties had held the contract until expiry, the futures buyer would have incurred a loss of 14,360 and the remaining margin would be returned to him. Meanwhile, the seller would have gained a profit of 14,360. Finally, let's draw the payoff graph. On the x-axis you have future price and on the y-axis you have cumulative gain or loss. You will observe that the payoff graph is linear. Will be when the price increases and the loss when it decreases. And for short futures, profit will be when the price falls and the loss will be when the price rises. So that's all for this video. I hope you now have a clear understanding of margin account operations and mark-to-market settlements. Try applying the same concepts to another stock of your choice for more practice. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.